After winning the amazing race, Kim and I realized that we could win at anything as long as we work together. Now, we want to unlock that win at anything potential in you.
Chip and I are so inspired by promoting happy, healthy, and thriving relationships.
Oh, you can't be sounding all coquettish, girl. You know how you expect me to concentrate on anything, but you know what?
You're so cute.
Welcome to this episode of My Queen and I. Oh man, that I'm going to give him props again, Kim. Your brother, Billy Wallace Jr.
Ooh, Billy!
Created that intro, and that just gets me to dancing and moving and grooving every time I hear it. So
I love it.
So Billy, even though you don't listen to our show, I'm still giving you props, baby. Thank you so much. Well, today, baby, how are you today?
You know I'm excited.
Well, I know. This is something that we know nothing about. This is a subject
I know
that we have had no experience with. And we have two super extremely special guests today. And Kim, why don't you introduce our guest today and tell the people what we're about to throw down with today?
Okay. We are going to give everybody the 101 basic tips on online dating. Ooh, and guess who we have with us today?
Who, my dear?
I'm so excited. Erin J, and what she's going to be doing, look at Miss Erin J with her beautiful self.
Thank you.
She's going to be
beautiful.
representing the 30-something population, right? Can I say that?
Yes, that's
I'm kind of telling
fine.
your age.
It's okay.
The 30-something. Okay, and guess what else?
What?
Guess who else we have?
Who do we have?
We have Leah Don. Woo, Leah!
Whoa.
Okay, can I tell that you're going to be representing the over 50 population?
Absolutely.
Wow.
I love it.
Well, now, see, you know what's so weird about that? Erin looks as if she's in her 20s and Leah looks as if she's in her 30s. So y'all must be getting some good dates.
Yeah.
Why don't you start asking these wonderful ladies some questions, Kimmy?
Well, I just think that there's such a need out there. People want to know, the ins and outs of online dating. And so we thought about it and, we actually scoured the internet. We talked to a lot of different people. And I would say that our two guests here, they are the ones who seem to be the most educated about this topic, since you and I know nothing about it. And first off, I want to start off with, both of you guys can, answer, Leah, maybe I'll start with you. What would you tell people? What are the best sites to even go to, and how do you even approach it?
Well, that's going to be a personal choice for everyone. I started my internet dating back in 2006. And back then I started on Black People Meet, some of the Match.coms, and Plenty of Fish. Plenty of Fish for me, there were too many fish. I had to get out of that pool. Pretty much consistently, my two go-to sites have been Black People Meet and Match.com.
Wow. Well, Erin, how about you? What are your go-to sites?
I would say I've tried all of them: Christian Mingle, eHarmony, Match.com, Black People Meet. But I would say my number one runner is Bumble. And I like Bumble because it mirrors the realistic way of courting. So it's like the women, once we match, the woman swipes and she has to send the man a message. And when she sends a message, she has 24 hours to respond. And so to me, it kind of mirrors like a flirt and then a wave back, and then the communication starts. So that's my first one. And then the second one would be Tinder. And Tinder because there's a variety of men, but Bumble asks specific questions about, are you married, kids, religion, are you a smoker, are you not? So then it helps kind of narrow down the people that you really want to match with.
See, we've always heard about this swipe left and swipe right, and I've been wondering, what the heck is that?
Erin just said something else. She said flirt, but there's a flirt, there's a wink, there's a swipe. So explain all that to us.
Okay, so Beyonce's song To the Left swipe means out with you, okay? You don't match, off with your head, kind of, And a right swipe is like, okay, I like this guy. He looks kind of cute. Let's see if he likes me back. And then once you match, there's like a button that comes up, and then you get to send a message, and he gets to respond. So you have to match in order for communication to begin.
This is so great for me because Kim and I have been together for 711 years.
At least.
So, right? So you don't have to say it like that, Kim. I mean, but so, okay, you just said something about when you swipe to the right. So what does that mean? Because I know they don't have your information at first. Does that mean you swipe to the right? Okay, there's my telephone number. There's everything to get in contact with me, or what?
No. So usually when you swipe right, the thing you see automatically on your screen will be a photo, typically their name, their first name, and their age. Then if you click on the picture, like an info button, if they're smart enough, they'll put a little bit about them that you can read, a short little snippet of it. And then when you swipe right, you're hoping that this person's going to match back with you. And then once you guys match, kind of like a heart pops up sometimes, and then it says, you guys match, send a message. And so that's when you actually send a message like, hello, how are you doing? My name's Aaron, or ask any questions.
So in essence, and this is kind of what I've understood, it's like in the real world, women, she can say no, but are men protected too?
Yes.
Oh.
So like if you want to look at it, it's kind of like how a Facebook profile pops up. So when you see a profile, all it shows is like the person's face, their name, and then you'll either like, that's my friend and I'll check them, or not. So it's just like a mirror of the person, just a little snippet of them. And men get to do the same thing. So they can go swipe left for girls that they don't like and swipe right. But the most important thing is you both have to swipe on each other in order for a connection to begin.
Okay, so that makes sense because that's what I was trying to figure out. So Leah Don, how do you know that this is the right person for you? How do you even figure that kind of stuff out?
Well, basically the concept is the same, except for when you're doing a Match.com or Black People Meet or one of the other traditional websites, all of the information is there. So basically, you would go on, there's two ways to do it. Either you take the suggestions that the system brings to you, because remember, you're creating your profile, and your profile has all of the information and what you like, what you prefer, who you are, all of your biographic information. And so as I go online, the first thing I do, I go in, and the first thing I might do is I might look at all of the people that have checked the box and said, hey, they like me. So I might scan through and see if I like any of them. But really, for me, I usually try to do my own search because I'm looking for a specific character, different specific characteristics. And I think that's the more strategic way to go after it, because when you think about it, the whole online dating thing, it's a lot of time, it's a lot of energy, it's a lot of work. It's just like having another job. It is a job. You have to do your job because you have to work at it. And time is so, all of our time is so valuable, especially when you're in the 50 plus category. You want to maximize all of your time.
Okay, so when you say time and cost, that it was one of my questions. When you say time, are you talking about you're spending hours every day, or what is it? And then what is this cost we're talking about?
Time-wise, yes, you are, because one thing is it takes time to search, and then it takes time to communicate, because you need to be pretty responsive when you're going through this process. Otherwise, if you haven't responded back to somebody, they're going to move on to the next person. So yes, when I say it takes time, you have to, it's just like checking your email box and checking your Facebook. You're always having to go back in. If I went in and I said, check that I like somebody, I want to go back in and see if that person saw that I liked him and, if he responded back. For me, and the reason what I like about the more traditional methods are, I can look at someone's profile and make a determination whether or not, one, they're serious about this whole process, because that's key. If somebody just puts in 2 lines, I know they're not serious. 2, if they're geographically undesirable. I don't really want a long distance relationship. So that's geographically undesirable. And like when you live in Chicago, living in the city is one thing. If you live in the suburbs, that may be geographically undesirable because of traffic. And that would be the same for a lot of, inner cities and cities that have traffic patterns that are just really tough, like DC, Atlanta. So, you have to think about all of those things too, as you're thinking about, which site you're going to deal with. You want the information. Basically, you have this whole ocean of fish. And what's the most strategic way to be able to go through, to sift through, to see, which fish could be potentially a good fish for you.
When does a date occur? How long do you talk online?
Yeah, and I don't know. Leah is it sounds like her traditional way is using the online sites, right? Like Match, eHarmony, and whatnot. Bumble is what you can actually use from your phone. So it's a lot easier. So these are apps you specifically download and can swipe while you're waiting for a doctor's appointment, swipe. I say 30 minutes to an hour because it is a full-time job. The sites that Leah is using is what started it all. It's online, eHarmony, it's Match. So then there's a much intensive profile that's more detailed, that gives more information in order to sign up for those sites. Oftentimes the dating apps on your phone are tied to sometimes Facebook pictures or whatnot, and so again, they have to ask a couple questions, but the ones that are on the online sites like eHarmony and Tinder, those you have to actually write down, and it's intense. eHarmony, I think it was 54 questions. It took an hour just to create a profile to see who they match you with. It was intense.
Well, the question I have is, how real is that? How do you even know if the information that they're putting on the profile is real and true?
Well, you really don't until you actually talk to them and see them in person. I've been in sales all my life, so I'm a good judge of character, and it takes me about 10 minutes to know maybe not even 10, if in fact the person is telling the truth. When you look at someone's profile, you can look at the way they write. Now, of course, they can always have somebody else write their profile for them, but if they take the time to write with correct grammar, with correct punctuation. There are some who choose to write in all lowercase or shout at you in all uppercase. So, it's all that kind of stuff that you have to get through in the profiles. But Aaron, Match and the other apps, I have those on my phone as well. So I'm keeping in contact with folks all during the day. I don't just wait till I go. But back in the day, absolutely, you would get up, go to work, do your day job. Then when you come home, you would start working on answering your emails, and I'd be up to 2 and 3 in the morning. And when I was saying you had to have a strategy, when I first got on, I didn't realize I was going to have so many hits. So what I ended up doing, I thought I had to answer and reply to every single person that wrote me something. And then I realized, wait, I don't have this kind of time. The reason why I decided to go after who I wanted, who I felt would be a good match for me, actually searching and looking through the site versus waiting for someone to find me and try to match with me. I'm the quote unquote aggressive.
I know for a fact that you have dated in both realms. Okay. Now,
what does that mean, both realms?
The dating type that you and I did without online and then online. The traditional way of dating, you can have phonies too. You can have people who perpetrate, and Leah and Kim, we know we could come up with a bunch of names throughout the years who were phony. So I have my head wrapped around online dating now. I see a value to it because at least I can put out there in my profile, if I like horseback riding, I like bowling, I like it. You at least have the facade of what a person wants to be. So how do you, either of you can answer this, what difference do you see in the authenticity piece of it?
Really no difference. To me, I always say that online dating was God's gift to mature professional people who don't have time to be out a lot because they're so busy with their day-to-day lives. And that's the reason why, I can read through a profile and tell whether or not someone's being genuine, at least, from my perspective. And I think that it takes practice to be able to identify that. I think more people that are on online dating really are truly looking for relationships versus there are some gamers out there and some folks that want to play, but I usually can see that, I get rid of them or block them off, don't respond to them, and just keep it moving, because I don't have time for that. But, back to your question, I do think that traditional methods, it's no different than if you walk in a club and meet somebody. The thing is, if you're doing online dating, first of all, you will have read their profile, you will have communicated back and forth via internet for an email for a couple of times, through the messaging system. Then you'll have phone conversations, so you'll be able to hear them, and the way they talk, does it match the way they write? The red flag goes up. And then after that, you go and you have that first date at Starbucks. And Starbucks is a perfect place because guess what? You're in the open and you can be with somebody for 10 minutes, one cup of coffee, and then you're done. You haven't wasted your time. You haven't wasted their time. Or you could be there for hours. It's a perfect place for the first date.
I think too, it's really about if people take the time to put a bio in their profile. That to me separates the ones who are looking for like one night stands versus someone who's intentionally dating. People who are serious about dating, they're going to take the time to put current photos up. They're going to take the time to tell you about themselves because we all know they're one amongst a pool of people. So if they're interested in really trying to capture or get a good woman, they're going to put down all that information. And then once you start exchanging messages, I have a 2-week rule. So like if we decide to continue to converse, we can exchange phone numbers. Thank God for technology. We can FaceTime too. But within 2 weeks, you should be able to carve out 30 minutes for a coffee, a Jamba Juice, or a drink. And then that makes it in a safe public place. I agree with Leah. And you can just kind of tell within 10 minutes, is this person genuine? Are they telling the truth? Is there eye contact? If I go to dinner with somebody, which is, I have to really like you, do they pray over their food? Because religion is very important to me. Do they open up doors? So those kind of things are important. But I think starting off is definitely looking at who's taking the time to really put some information in their profile to tell you about themselves.
Yeah, well,
wow.
I'll tell you guys also, Kim and me, we're realtors. And realtors are notorious for we'll see a person and then we'll get their card and we'll see their picture and then they'll show up and we'll say, oh, are you Mary's mom? No, I'm married.
It's never a current photo.
Oh man,
never.
So Kim and I take our pictures every year because we don't want to ever be, looking like that. But you guys, how phony are the pictures that you guys see?
So for me, if we match and we start exchanging messages, before I give you my phone number, I tell them, okay, when I get your phone number, I'm going to text you with a selfie of me and I'd ask you to do the same. Do you agree to this? And then if they don't agree, then I don't move forward. But if someone who's themselves, they're going to send me a snapshot. And I usually send it without makeup so that they know indeed I'm the woman in the photos. That for me has been a trick that's worked now so I don't get catfished and fooled anymore.
Anymore.
Yeah, it happens. I've been catfished.
Okay, we're going to have to learn about that later on.
Yeah.
Okay, for sure.
Well, okay, Kim, here's one thing I want to take the time right now because we talked about it and I think that was the decision. This, as we know, we want to respect all of our listeners' time. And this could have spawned into 2 shows. One, which is informational, and one we'll call the online dating horror stories. So here's what I want you listeners. If this is interesting to you, these 2 young ladies here, Erin and Leah, have some of the best, funniest, most interesting horror stories you have ever heard. But guess what? That is going to be on our next episode because so Leah, Erin, hold off.
Okay.
But I didn't know you had a cat. Oh Lord Jesus, a catfish story. So okay. So anyway, Kim, let's.
Okay, this is what I want to know, and maybe you guys could share this with everybody. What is the biggest turnoff immediately where okay, I am not going forward with this person?
So for me right now, we're in a very over-sexualized culture. So I often see couples on my profiles trying to seek out open relationships. That's a turnoff. I hate when guys have pictures of themselves in the bed looking sexy. It's like, leave something for the imagination. So I usually swipe left on that. Another thing that is a big turnoff is when people have groups of pictures of other people and I have to try to figure out which one you are.
Wow.
I don't like that. Like, I shouldn't have to guess who is in the profile if you have all these good looking men, or, you know, or if you have a woman in your profile picture and you don't explain it that, oh, that's my niece, that's a left swipe. Those are immediate turnoffs for me.
What about you, Leah?
I have to agree with Aaron. I think the first one is, like you say, if they're laying in the bed, if they have a picture of them laying in the bed and they don't have on a shirt, I'm done. You're gone. I just put an X on you. Secondly, I'm not a pet lover. So if you have a dog or say that you like a dog, that's just me. I don't, dogs, I can't do dogs because I'm afraid of dogs. So that's another X for me. If someone has a lot of young kids, just because for me in my life, it just doesn't work for me. It probably works for someone else, but just not for me. So I won't, look at, I'm very particular about that because I don't want to lead anyone on. I don't want to waste anyone's time, just like I don't want my time to be wasted. If someone says that they liked, oh, this is the big killer. The beginning of their profile is, I'm a laid back kind of person and I like to stay at home. That I have to put an X on that too, because that's not me. If someone doesn't talk about that they have a passion for something, gotta put an X on that. And because if you don't have passion for something or drive for something, then it's probably going to be a little boring. And I'm not ready for boring. Even over 50, we are not ready for boring. We're not ready to ride out into the sunset or to just go fishing every day. You can go fishing once in a couple of, every other week, but not every single weekend. We can't do that.
Or like never.
Well, no, I'm open to trying everything once for sure. And I've been fishing before, so I'm okay with going fishing, but not every weekend. Not if that's your go-to enjoyment activity. You would have to do that, and I would be doing something else. But what's the purpose of getting together if you're going to be doing separate things? So,
that's just important of the profile. The profile really has to tell us about you. Are you adventurous? If you have skydiving, I mean, just people are intentionally dating, and they take the time to really tell you about their passions, their life. Like, that's the people that you want to swipe right with.
Okay, because that was going to be my next question. How do you know, and what is it about that profile that would make you say, okay, I am going to date this person. They are the right one for me. What is it that stands out?
So right now I'm in my 30s and I don't have any kids. I've never been married. So for me, it needs to say I'm interested in getting married and I want children. And then if I happen to swipe right with someone who says they have children, I'll ask how many, of course. And then I'll ask what the relationship is with the mother, because I don't want any baby mama drama, and I do not respect a man who belittles a woman who gave birth to their children.
Amen. That's awesome.
And see, you're right on point there, especially about the kids, because, over 50, you have to say you don't want any kids. It's okay if you have kids and if your kids have kids. Now, I do look at, do your kids live with you? I do look at that. How many kids you have living with you? Because, that kind of messes up the flow. You can't be spontaneous, and that's really key in relationships. But no, I agree 100%. You definitely looking at those different aspects of someone's life is important. Is that what you are looking for the rest of your life?
That is a good point. And probably the last three guys I had been talking to all had children that live with them. So that's kind of also a red flag, because it's like, what kind of woman were you dating that you have? But then at the same time, you respect a man who is involved in a child's life. So I think it's like, for me, it's a very kind of thin line, but it's more about delving deeper into the conversation to understand they want to have children and what the situation is before moving forward.
And another point, what you talked about, it's about, I always look at their relationships with their mother, their sisters and brothers, their family members. And I also look, because a lot of times you find there are men out there that don't have any friends. And if they don't have any friends, that means that he's going to be wrapped around your life and your friends. And that's not necessarily good. The whole point is that I bring my friends to the table, you bring your friends to the table, and we get our friends to mingle and mix with each other. So you have a full life, but you don't want to be responsible for that man's life because it's too much of a burden for one person to take on.
Oh, great. Now we've come to this point and we've talked about before dating and all of that. Now, remember, in the next show, we're going to talk about the ones that went wrong. So or the funny ones or whatever. So now tell me, now let's get to the point of, okay, you're cool. I've been talking to you for a while. All right, I'm excited. Let's do that let's get to that point. What are the feelings? How does it lead up to the Starbucks? And then you guys have been on dinners and dates and all that stuff. How does that transpire, or how to give me that?
After you do the first Starbucks interaction, then you're going to continue to talk on the phone, but then you're also going to start seeing each other on some type of regular basis. And that's really the key. It's got to be regular because otherwise you're not going to get a chance to know the person. And, a lot of times people have different expectations for regular. What does regular mean? So to me, seeing somebody once a week, that's not going to cut it. Seeing somebody once a week and on the weekend, that's going to be, that's a little too much space in between. To me, I would, because we both have our own personal lives. We have our professional lives. If they're still working or retired, whatever, they got a passion. But to me, I would have to say, in the beginning in this whole dating thing, I would think I would need to at least see somebody maybe a couple of times a week and on the weekend, just so that we could get into a role of seeing what each other is like, getting to learn, who they are, their likes, my likes, to see if we are compatible. And so then, once you start that and you're going out and so forth, that goes through. And then at some point, you have to get somebody to verify with you that this may be a good choice. So that's either a sister, a brother, a girlfriend, or whatever, to do a double check to make sure this guy is okay.
Well, and at what point do you feel comfortable bringing them home to your house, letting them know where you live?
Wow.
Oh.
There's really no time. I mean, you can't just say, okay, I wait 6 to 9 months before I let them know where I live. It just depends on the person, and you can feel, you're over 50, so you have a gut feeling. You can read people, whether or not you'll be close, what their, what their perspectives are on life, you've heard about their families, and you've been able to verify certain things. So it's based on the person, who that individual is.
I say for me, the first 2 dates, I always meet them where they are. Like we always meet at the spot, and it's about comfortability. So again, the first dates are like Starbucks, Jamba Juice, or whatever. But the second date to me is more important because that's where I get to the meat of things. It's usually interactive, like a bowling activity. I need to see if this person's kind of fun and can kind of go with the flow versus always serious. And then from there, it's like, okay, do I feel comfortable with him coming to pick me up at my house? So I think it all depends, but I believe that it's nice to see someone that you like every week, but sometimes in your 30s, you're kind of still trying to do your career and you have other things going on. So bi-weekly tends to work as well starting off, but I think it just depends on how you feel. With someone you really like, you're talking on the phone all the time. You probably want to see them 2 times throughout the week if possible, but FaceTime helps with a lot of that too. So I definitely think probably by the third date, depending on how they feel, you let them kind of figure out where you live, but not right away.
Okay, so I do want to ask you guys this. Do you prefer much older men, or are you preferring the younger men? And Leah, the same question for you. Are you robbing the cradle since you over 50, or do you prefer older men?
I am not a cougar, will never be a cougar. That's just not in my spirit, wasn't in my spirit when I was younger. I've always been an older man woman my whole life. I tried to do the younger because all my friends said, Leah, open up your mind and try younger. Look, when I tried those young fellas, it just didn't work for me. It may work for somebody else, but that's just not my normal attraction. I'm just, for the most part, I'm not even naturally attracted to younger guys. I'm interested in someone that's more mature, has experiences, things that we share that are in common. I mean, when I think about it, I think about, you know, some of my more recent days before all this COVID stuff, because that's a whole different story, because online dating during COVID is totally different than what we're talking about right now. You know, it's a whole different ballgame because there is no interaction. So, you know, because before it would be very easy, you know, even when I was dating people that lived in different cities, a guy would fly into Chicago, take me to go see Hamilton, then take me to Gibson Steakhouse for dinner, and he'd fly on back out to wherever he lived in Florida. And I mean, it was fantastic. Now, nice guy, but there was no.
But Leah, the man took you to see Hamilton. I want to date this dude.
And Gibson Steakhouse.
And we're still friends. We are still friends, still talk whenever he comes in town. We go do dinner. Or like if I'm in the city that we're in the same city, we'll go and have dinner or something. But sometimes that's the one thing that I always say to people who are going to start online dating. Don't think that everybody that you're going to go out with is the be all end all, that he's the one, because that's not it. You should be going to find out if you think you can be compatible or there could be a connection with the person. And, you know, if it is, that's cool. But everyone is not going to be your end mate. It's not possible. I mean, you may be lucky in that one shot deal, you know, first time I saw your face, I was in love. That may happen, but it's rare. It's
For
rare.
me, I'm in my mid-30s, right? So all of my friends have already had kids. They're already married. So for me, when I prefer to date people either my age or to 40, you know, to like 40, early 40s, a lot of them have already been married and divorced, don't want to get married or don't have to, or have kids and don't want to have any more children. So I'm now kind of considering 33 kind of, you know, earlier 30s, but it's hard for me too because I have a brother that age and it's like, they're not really like as mature enough for me. So my preference would be someone like right around my age, a year older or the same age.
Right. Well, Leah and Aaron, the purpose of this show is to educate people and to give them information. I've learned so much. Can we have each of you tell me and Kim and our audience something that they may not know or something you feel it's important that they know about online dating? Why don't you both just go, or have we exhausted the whole subject? I don't know. Let me know.
And basically, is online dating for everyone? Because it might not be for everyone.
Right.
I think online dating is a fantastic tool to meet people that you would not ever come in contact with. I mean, that's the best way I can put it. Now, if you are not willing to put in the work, no, then it's not for you because you're not being fair to yourself or to the other person. So, I mean, I think it's, like I said in the beginning, I think it's great for someone like in my realm, over 50, you know, you have a professional life, you have a volunteer life, you have a family life, and you have a lot of things going on where you're not out and about in the circles where I would meet someone that I would be necessarily interested in. So I think it's a fantastic tool.
I think too. I think it's absolutely the new way of dating. A lot of us are working all the time. We don't have time to meet anyone. So I think online dating is really good for everyone. But if you feel like you don't really have the time to do online dating, there's searching firms that you can use as well. It's a little bit more expensive. Like It's Just Lunch.
Go into that, Aaron. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so It's Just Lunch is a company that I found out about, and you actually pay them.
No, wait, say the name again.
It's Just Lunch.
It's Just Lunch.
And the concept of this is that most business professionals don't have time to have dinner or whatnot. So what they do is first you meet with them, you give them kind of like what it is you're looking for, you tell them about yourself, you give them your driver's license. So they do background checks on every person that you are going to be paired with. So that's important because when you do the dating apps, you're doing kind of like the investigation yourself, but this firm is going to do all of that for you. And so the concept of It's Just Lunch is that you have lunch or dinner with business professionals. You only get their first name and the name of the restaurant. And so when you go and meet them at the restaurant, I think they promise about 10 dates a year. Can be anywhere from like $2,000 to $5,000, just so you know, just to put it out there. And so the concept of It's Just Lunch is like when the bill comes out, it comes out as separate checks. And so it's just lunch, right? There's no harm, no foul. If a guy's a gentleman when you go out with him, then most likely they'll still pick up the bill.
Okay, good.
But these people are pairing you with people you would have never expected. I've been out with Caucasian Americans, Asian Americans, business professionals. So these people are people that are kind of like on the same kind of corporate level. I think they might even ask your salary. You don't know a lot about the person, but when they tell you about them, you have to agree to go out on the date. So they'll give you a little bit of information, but we never know each other's full name or first name until we go and meet. And
so how has that worked for you? I mean, have you liked it for the most part? Because I was going to ask you if you guys both do the interracial dating, but...
So I had tried this search firm after I got Catfish, which I have to tell you guys about it because I was just done with online dating. I would say I would not invest the money anymore for a search firm. I feel like on dating apps, it gives you the ability to pay an additional amount, like $10 a week, to see people that may have swiped right on you that you swiped left on. Because then it has the same perspective, right? You can go back and look at people that may have liked you, that you may have passed up. And those people with search firms are usually the ones that they're pairing you with, people that you may not have even expected. But it's more cost efficient versus $40 a month, right? Versus $2,000 to $5,000.
Wow.
I can't even imagine.
For 1 year, promising you, I think, 10 to 12 dates.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you, Aaron, you brought up the catfish word again. And Leah, we know about all of the horror stories. Of course, we're getting to the end of this episode, but Kim, this is our first cliffhanger. So you guys stay tuned because these ladies are going to come back on the next episode and talk with you about horror stories, online dating horror stories, and catfishing, and actual catfish stories. So stay tuned for that. Leah and Aaron, I want to thank you all so much for spending your time with us on this show.
I love it. Thank you, guys.
And thank you for agreeing to come back for the very next show. So you guys got 2 episodes. But right now, we're going to officially end this episode like we always do. And I just want to say thank you, my beautiful bride and my partner in life, God's gift to me, my beautiful wife. Thank you, Leah and Aaron. And I want to say to you out there, if you consider her your queen and she is your queen, you live a little slice of heaven right here on earth. Thank you, and we love you so much. Join us next time.